Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. Hello, welcome back to Big LEZ'S League, an all rugby league experience. I'm back on the YouTube after a 2-week hiatus. Isaac has been doing the Breaking Bread show on the YouTube, but I thought that I'd come back for such a special occasion. New South Wales, Queensland, Origin. It's like Big LEZ'S Christmas. It's honestly Big LEZ'S Christmas. We get to come on here and do our Origin predicted sides. I honestly cannot wait. Now, what's even better about this, especially for those who follow the Instagram already, Big LEZ'S League _ if you don't, is that I've made changes. I've made changes to both sides. So that's going to be really interesting to delve into. But here are my official Game 1 predicted teams. I'm still undecided as to if I throw this out on the Friday or on the Sunday morning. You guys will know before I do. But let's get straight into it. For New South Wales, we're going to kick off straight away. What we'll do, we'll go position by position, sort of explain our mindset behind each. Pretty much straight off the dome. We'll go through 1 to 13, then 14 to 17. And then I'll also put together a 21-man squad. So we'll go 18 to 21 as to guys I'd bring into camp with me as well. So let's get started. New South Wales will kick off with first, and then we'll get stuck into Queensland as well. Those filthy Queenslanders, they can go last. But New South Wales, let's kick off. Big discussion point around the fullback jersey at the moment. Obviously, you've got Dylan Edwards, who's playing decent footy. Is he playing at his best? Probably not. Is he playing at his fittest? Probably not either. He probably is a little bit injured. Coming into this season, you've obviously got guys like Tedesco, who probably is the informed fullback at the moment in the competition. You've also got Ryan Papenhuyzen, who's playing some decent footy as well. So there's definitely a lot of choices there for the Blues. It'll be really interesting to see where they go, what direction they go in New South Wales. It depends on the style of footy that they want to play. If they want to play a very fast game, it'll be Pappy. If they want to play a meterage game, it'll be either Teddy or Edwards. I think there is a strong chance that Teddy will be there, but I've gone Edwards. I think you've got to go with the incumbent. He has been there. He did it last year. Obviously being a part of a winning side, going to Suncorp, doing what they did. Last 2 games, he was in a part of a winning side. I just think that that's very valuable. I also think that Edwards, when he gets into that Origin arena, he is going to get you those tough carries coming out of yardage. He's going to be a huge part of that yardage game, and obviously getting the momentum at the start of sets to create things. And that's what Cleary's going to thrive on. That's what Moses is going to thrive on, and having that familiarity for Cleary at the back there at fullback as well. Even though Cleary's most likely going to be playing left side, just having a little bit of familiarity with the movements, I think is going to be so valuable for him as well. We're there with Dylan Edwards. So I've got Edwards. I think that, as I said, the combo with Cleary is going to be super valuable there at the back at fullback. Last 2 games of last series, he played very, very well. Has that combo with Moses as well, which makes sense. Giving my halves away. Sorry about it. Not sorry at the same time. I think that it's pretty obvious that that's what a lot of people are going to go with anyway. But yeah, Dylan Edwards at the back there at fullback for me. We'll talk about the halves in a second. We'll get into the outside backs first. For the wingers for New South Wales, I'm going with Brian To'o. I think that Brian To'o, he is just such a good meter reader, and I think that he's going to be a guy that stands up in Origin as well. Obviously those yardage carries that he has, super tough as well, just physicality-wise. He's exactly what you want. He's an Origin player. Every year he's played Origin, he's done very well. And I just think that with a guy like Brian To'o, you just have to lock him in, even if his form is what it is currently. And, he does look a little bit banged up, had 200 meters on the weekend. I think that you've just got to trust To'o and back him in. I think that he will be the guy on the left wing for New South Wales. If he's not, I'd be absolutely shocked. For the right wing, now, I did have Tom Trbojevic, but just listening to a few other opinions and having a little bit of a think about it myself, looking at guys that are coming back this week in Lomax, Kiraz, looking at him and his form of late, I just think that we've got, I think if we didn't have a Lomax and we didn't have a Kiraz and we didn't have even a Mark Nwangani-Tawaso who's playing good footy at the moment. Not saying I've picked him. A lot of people have thrown him out there. If we didn't have the depth that we do for wing, I'd be definitely inclined to throw Tom Trbojevic in there and trust him and give him that leg, as I was initially. Literally 24 hours ago, Tom Trbojevic was my right winger. But I think that because there's the depth there, because there's the coverage there, even if, it doesn't really work out in game one, we can afford to go to a Lomax. We can afford to go, to a Jacob Kiraz if that's the direction that you want to go in. I've gone with Lomax. I think that, again, incumbency, not that that matters too much with the Laurie Daly side, a new coach coming in, fresh set of eyes. There are going to be some changes to last year's team. I do think, though, that Lomax, the way that he played last year, he was nearly the man of the series. Obviously backed in last year by Madge and did an incredible job. I just think you've got to stick with that. A big part of that's going to be how he plays in the weekend. Obviously recording this on a Wednesday night, so not too sure as to how Lomax has played on the weekend, but I would probably go with Lomax and just back him in. I think he's in for a massive game returning for the Eels. And even still as well, if Lomax, knock on wood he doesn't, but if Lomax was to go down and be unavailable, I'd probably then go Kiraz. And again, it comes back to having the coverage there. And I know it's a big twist from, as I said, 24 hours ago, I had Tom Trbojevic in my side. He was my right winger. But when you've got the coverage there and these guys are playing at a very high click, I think you can afford to, make the call there and leave Tom Trbojevic out, let him get back to 100% fitness, and then maybe if we do lose game one, bring Tom Trbojevic in if fully fit and make that change. But I've got Lomax on my right wing, made that change literally in the past 24 hours. So Brian Toto and Lomax are my wingers. Edwards is my fullback. With Lomax, you get an aerial specialist. You get a guy that competes very well against tall wingers. Did it in last year's series as well, running up against, I think it was right winger, so left winger was Murray Taulagi, I believe, last year. I am losing the plot. I'm pretty sure it was Murray Taulagi. I think that Coates played on the right side with Val Holmes, and it was Murray Taulagi and Hammer on the left side, if my memory serves me correctly. But yeah, Lomax, absolute aerial specialist, really good against those tall wingers who are also aerial specialists. Tough coming out of yardage as well, Lomax. He puts 100% effort in, especially for some of his games for Parramatta. He's been outstanding. So I think that's great. And then, as I said, Toto and Lomax, just the bash brothers on those first and second tackles, getting that momentum in sets, those tough yardage carries coming back after a kick. That's what I'm thinking as well in this side, especially with Edwards at fullback. These two wingers suit that ideology and the way that you want to play your football with an Edwards fullback. Now, centres. I think that we don't need to discuss this too much and dive into this too much. I think that it's going to be Latrell Mitchell and Stephen Crichton. I think that Latrell plays left, Critter plays right. Critter, Lomax, really good combo. They sort of built a combination up last year. There was a lot of chopping and changing with injuries in the back line in game one. Sort of built a bit of a combination in the later games, but keen to see them really dive into a combo and especially with what Critter's done for his winger and Kiraz over the past 2 weeks. Just want to see him do that with Lomax as well and just set him up all day. That'd be great. I know that Cleary and Moses are going to be setting him up with kicks all day as well, but just for those two to build a bit of a combination, that'd be scary on that right side. And Latrell Mitchell, he's one of those dudes where if he's fully fit, you pick him. And I said the same thing for Tom Trbojevic, and I still believe it for Tom. But Tom was like playing at 30%, 40%. So it's just not the way that I want to go, unfortunately. And, Latrell Mitchell, on the other hand, he does look fit. He's playing decent football. He had a big game on the weekend. He's not playing terribly. He's getting involved, and we know even with the form Latrell that is currently playing, even though he's form-wise not at his best, it's Latrell Mitchell, and when he comes into Origin, and particularly when he plays centre, he's the best centre in the game. So I think that Latrell Mitchell coming in is just an absolute no-brainer, and I think that Latrell Mitchell at centre, you look at that as a Queensland fan, and you scratch your head and go, oh no, this is going to be trouble. So my back five is Edwards, To'o, Mitchell, Critter, Lomax. Halves and Moses Cleary. We've discussed that a little bit already. I think, and I sort of brought it up on the Supercoach experience, but that part of the episode got cut out. I think that Cleary at 6 is really good. And I think, Guru's point when he argues this is, Cleary, you look at the grand final and his, game with Cogger. I think that it creates a psychological edge for Cleary where it takes a lot of the pressure of running the side away from him, because you saw how well Moses ran the side last year for the Blues. Really taking control, really good kicking game, calm in the big moments. I feel like all of that stress of having to run the team for Cleary, even though technically it's Cleary's team and it will be Cleary's team moving into the future, I think all the whole psychological thing of having to run the side and be the 7 and wear the 7 on your back, that gets taken away, and it allows Cleary to have big moments in State of Origin. Putting him in the 6 jersey in the grand final against Brisbane allowed him to have big moments against the Broncos, score that try, set one up for Leota. Putting Cleary into that 6 jersey for the Blues, it'll allow him to have the Origin big moments that everyone thinks he needs to have. I think that Cleary in the 6 jersey will unlock his game in Origin and will just take him to that next level of Origin players as well. I think Cleary is more likely of having a man-of-the-match Origin performance in the 6 than he is currently in a 7 jersey. And as I said, watching Moses and how well he ran the side last year and letting Cleary to sit at the back of shape and play off the back of that as well, Cleary can have his moments, similar to the Hines and Trindle combo, or maybe a better example even is the Hughes and Munster combo. They can each have their moments and big sets in the games, and they can obviously have their directive sets. Cleary can run plays on that left-hand side. He can run shape there, get into first receiver anytime he wants. But as I said, it's more of a psychological thing for me, where the weight of the world of Cleary having to have the big moment in Origin and to run this team in Origin, all that pressure, is not all of it, but a lot of that pressure is taken off him. Moses runs the team. Cleary can, play off the back of Moses and even run sets on that left side. I think it unlocks Cleary's game in Origin, and I think that if we're to see Cleary have a man of the moment on an Origin moment, a man of the match Origin moment, I should say, anytime soon, it's going to be with a 6 jersey, not a 7 jersey. At the moment, he can have those moments later in his career when he gets into the prime of his career a little bit later on. But right now, for me, I think that Cleary, his best footy in Origin is going to be played at number 6. Moving into the forwards. Now, there's been a lot of chat around Terrell May at the moment. A lot of chat around Terrell May that he won't get picked for the Blues. I find it horseshit. I mean, we get a lot of this sort of chat leading into Origin. I wouldn't take it with a grain of salt, because I think there might be a little bit of, truth in it. But I tell you what, if they don't pick Terrell May in this Origin side, they are kidding themselves. He is the best, or second best at least, front rower currently in the competition form-wise, stat-wise. Some of his carries for the Tigers, playing huge minutes. His offload ability and second phase ability in a game where, we thrive on second phase footy. The halves in Moses and Cleary love second phase footy as well. Terrell May suits what this side can do at their best. I think that it takes a bit of pressure off Yowie as well, because Yoey's best Origin games, or at least over the past 2 years, have been when he's played more of a front row role and he's just run the footy and worried about running the footy. Terrell May at 8 almost takes a bit of pressure off Yo in the sense that he doesn't have to hop into 2 or, first receiver all the time on those wedge shapes. He can almost just have a little bit of a rest, maybe take the hit up beforehand to play the ball into a Terrell May wedge shape, where you have Terrell May, you have the other front rower in Payne Haas standing beside him, running his lead. You have, the halves standing at the back of shape for those arrows, that arrow shape. And he can be that dude at 1. He can be that first receiver off that wedge shape rather than always being Yo. And it takes so much pressure off Yo to be that guy constantly for 80 minutes or for however long you want to see Yoey play. So So Terrell May, I think a big reason as to why, not only his form and the fact that him and Payne Haas are the best front rowers currently in the comp, at least form-wise, I think that Terrell May takes pressure off Yo. So my 8, 10, 13 is Team A, Haas, Yo. I think that's the best you can currently go for. You can get the best out of Yo with Team A there, taking pressure off him on a lot of those shape sets. Team A can obviously play his game as well. Hard, tough carries. Being a bit of a bash bro with Haas to start a game. I think these two could go ballistic to start the game as well and could really put the pressure on the Maroons, who, in regards to their pack, we'll talk about it in a second. They might get... It's going to be a very interesting first 20 minutes of Origin. And if we get an Origin series that starts the way Game 3 last year did, where it was just intense for like 50 minutes, I think this forward pack is going to be the most exciting variety of that, or version of that, I should say, even more so than last year, because Terrell May is just the beast. He can go all day, and he will come at you all day. The only thing for Team A that I want to see in Origin, I just want to see him hit the line a little bit harder. Obviously, I know we sort of said it on the podcast quite a bit. It's probably the only criticism of Team A's game. He's got that second phase ability, offload. He's got ball playing. He can, generate post-contact meters really well once he gets into the line. But in regards to actually hitting the line, he still has that mentality of offload first, or what can I do after I get into the tackle, whether it be post-contact meters prioritized, whether it be finding an offload prioritized, things like that. Terrell May still has that sort of mindset getting into tackles where he doesn't actually think about, give me the fucking ball, I want to break the line. And that's what I want to see Terrell May thinking a little bit more from the front rower's perspective, in that sort of role. So Terrell May, for me, just hit the line hard. I think that he'll turn his game up another level for Origin, or at least I really hope so. Let's get stuck into the number 9 jersey. Again, a lot of conjecture around this. I think you have to go with Reece Robson because of how he's played in the past 2 seasons or series, I should say. He's been fantastic, really tough defender, runs the ball hard, can get really creative as well out of 9, especially if around a tired ruck. He's quite quick and evasive, which a lot of people don't really associate with Robertson's game. He's got a big enough body shape as well to rotate with Watson from 9 and 13. They can sort of rotate a bit, similar to that Hunt and Harry Grant 1-2 punch as well. So I don't mind that, and I think that Robson, he just reeks Origin. I think that he will be there for the next few years. And I think he was always going to be my starting 9. It was always going to be who's my 14. I'm not going to tell you who my 14 is yet, but if you've seen the Instagram post, it's relatively the same. But Robson is my 9. I think that you've got to go with Robson to start because he starts the game so well. He's tough. He's physical. And, look, even if we were in a situation, again, knock on wood, where Robson was to go down, I think the next guy up wouldn't even be Wade Egan, because I look at Wade Egan more as a 14. Him and Watson, for me, would be 14s because they'd have so much impact off the bench. Like Wade Egan's creativity around the ruck and some of the things that he can do coming off the bench and doing that when you've had a 9 that sort of starts games really physical and really not so flashy, just get to your kick sort of 9. Well, Robson can play that role, and then you have an Egan coming on just to create that impact, or even a Watson. So I'd leave those guys to that sort of role. The next guy in, if Robson was to go down tomorrow, I'd bring in Mitch Kenny. Yes, obviously has been injured twice already this season, but I just think that he suits that mold of I want a 9 that can start the game really well. He can be really physical. He'll come out of the line and try and smash blokes. He's a real get-to-your-kick sort of 9. Yes, has a bit of creativity. His ruck recognition, Kenny, is really smart as well, which is a real underrated part of his game. I think that him and Robson would always be, for me, that starting 9 role, at least how I like to run my Origin sides. And then you get a Wade Egan or a Watson off the bench at 14, depending on how you want your side run. Robson, for me, is the starting 9 every day of the week. Back rowers, tough choices made here. Obviously, you've got a guy that won the Wally Lewis medal last year in Angus Crichton. I don't have him starting. I have Hudson Young starting left edge back row. If you're looking at the interviews and the things that Laurie Daly has said to start the year, especially since being appointed, he's always going to pick the side on form. Yes, obviously the noise that we've heard about Terrell May and other things that we've heard regarding Origin selection suggests that there is going to be a little bit of, guys that have been there before and backing in experience and not going, with too many debutants. I think that, I think you have to go on form in this scenario, though. Hudson Young, he does have the Origin experience on the board, albeit off the bench. He has been the informed back rower this year. He is tough as nails. I think in a starting role, he'll thrive more than off the bench. Just because of those, runs that he can take on that left edge. I'd play him for the full 80. Just go hard. Create as much opportunity as you can. Cleary, Young, Mitchell, To'o is a scary left edge. It is a frightening left edge. Yes, it's still a frightening left edge with Angus Crichton there, but it is a scary left edge with Hudson Young there, because Hudson Young, for me, especially this year, has a lot more to his game in regards to breaking the game open. At the moment, Angus Crichton generally does or can break a game open a lot better than Young. But this season, what we've seen from Young, 2 tries back-to-back for 4 weeks. It was 8 tries in 4 weeks. He is in some pretty terrific form, and he's forced my hand, really, in regards to putting him in that jersey. Liam Martin, it was always going to get picked for me, unless he had an absolute Barry Crocker, which he hasn't really had yet. I think that, you got to pick Liam Martin. What he can bring to your Origin side, I just think it's so valuable. So I'd be going Liam Martin. He's just a tough defender. He's going to come at you all day. And he has no let up, Liam Martin. I just want to see him go absolutely skits. So he's my right back rower. 13 is Yowie. We spoke about it before. So my starting 13. I want Edwards at fullback, To'o and Lomax on the wings, Latrell, Critter centers, Cleary 6, Moses 7, T-May and Haas front row, Robson 6. Robson 9, not Robson 6, Robson 9. Hudson Young, Liam Martin back row, Yowie 13. My bench, 14, Watson. Too versatile to leave out for me. I think that he can play, I know he can play every position on the field. Wing, if you had to put him on the wing, he'd do it for you. Center, fullback, 5'8", halfback, 9. You can put him in the middle to play a middle role there. Edge, you can do it at a pinch. He will play any role from 1 to 13 for you. The coverage that you get with Watson is just way too valuable. And the fact that you just don't know where he's going to come into the game, for me, that would scare me as a Queensland fan. So, Watson for me, he is in jersey 14. In regards to the game plan that I would have for Watson, it would be to come on at lock and take Yo's role there, maybe move Yo into a front row role officially. But yeah, I'd be happy with him coming on at 9, depending on how the game goes. And that's the beauty of Watson there. Not only do Queensland not know where he's going to come onto the field, but neither do we, until he obviously, comes to that stage where he needs to come on, whether that be at lock, whether that be at 9, whether there's an injury, he can come on and fill roles. Jersey 15, I did have Hamole Olakau'atu. I no longer have Hamole Olakau'atu. I just reflected on the game on the weekend, and a few past games, his form has been very inconsistent this season. So I've got Angus Crichton. I think that he's a lot safer. He's your Wally Lewis medalist. He can come on and break the game open, whether it be through the middle or on an edge. I'd probably bring him on the right edge and give Martin a spell, or even move Martin into the middle and just get him to go skits. Or I'd bring Angus Crichton on through the middle and just get him to run hard and, maybe throw a few offloads here and there, but just to go absolutely skits. I think that he could do that role really well. So Angus Crichton for me at jersey 15. Jersey 16, obvious one for me. It feels obvious. Spencer Leniu. Yes, the form this season hasn't been overly fantastic, but I think that since he's come back into this side, he has been strong. He's been very, very good for the most part. Being forced into that starting role hasn't really helped his case. But I think that Spencer Leniu, what you're going to get from him in Origin, what we got from him last year, was nothing short of just unbelievable. Just the impact that he had immediately coming onto the field, running over blokes. Psychologically, that's going to fuck with you as well. Spencer Leniu coming on and going bananas. And then jersey 17, again, another guy that can play edge or middle. Mitch Barnett there. A lot of people have him starting. I think that he can have a impact coming off the bench. The leg speed, ability to play big minutes. He's going to have a tank that goes all day. He'll come on in the middle or the edge. He can cover both, which I love. And I think that he's just that big body that's going to come out hard and go skits. He played well last year. I think that him and Leniu will build a bit of a combination and G each other up as well. I'd be more than happy to move teammate to the bench. As I said, I think that to start a game, you have Yo at 13. Teammate probably takes a lot more pressure off Yo than what a Barnett would, to be honest, in regards to that link man role. So I would probably go with Barnett off the bench as well, if that makes sense. Now, the rest of the squad. If I'm picking a 21-man squad, what does that look like? I am going to go with 18th man, the guy I'm bringing into camp and the guy that will come in if there's injury. It is Ryan Papenhuyzen. I think that he's been in great form, at least over the past few weeks. Yes, there has been injury concerns with him in the past. Hasn't really gotten injured too much, or at least this season. Again, knock on wood. I think that he can cover a lot of positions. He's played in the halves before for the Melbourne Storm at latter parts of the seasons. In season past, I think he did last season, played halfback at one stage in a game due to a few injuries in the mid-game for the Melbourne Storm. So he can play in the halves, he can play at fullback, he can play on the wing. He could play at centre at a pinch, but I think that you'd probably be more inclined if, let's say a guy like Critter was to go down, you'd probably move Lomax to right centre and you'd bring in Ryan Papenhuyzen there to play on that right wing. So wing, fullback, halves. I think that he can cover a lot of spots for you. So I think that Ryan Papenhuyzen would be a great 18th man. That's going to hurt Melbourne, but, they've got Farlongo there, so I think they'll be right. 19th man, for me, I would be bringing into camp. He obviously still be allowed to play games for the Dolphins, but I would be bringing in Isaiah Katoa. I think you have to bring him in. I think that he has played so well this year. He's a guy that's going to be there in the future. I'd be bringing him into camp, giving him that experience, because I think that he, as I said, will grow into an Origin player, and after Moses, he's the next guy up, in my opinion. In jersey 20, I have gone with Wade Egan. I think that you've got to have the cover there for Robson and Watson. I think that he has been playing so well this year for the Warriors. He's a guy that deserves to be in camp. A little bit of an announcement, and I'm going to maybe record it live on the podcast if it eventuates, but I've drunkenly made a bet with my mates that if Wade Egan does not make the extended squad for New South Wales, whether that be 1 to 17, whether that be, in a extended squad, whether it be a 19, 20-man squad, I will be dyeing my hair jet black. It's on the record now. It is on the record, boys. If Wade Egan does not get selected in the extended squad, 1 to 20, 21, 19, however many guys I want to take into camp, I will dye my hair jet black, whether that be on the Tuesday at training, whether that be on the Sunday night. I will be dyeing my hair jet black. I'm dead set on this. I think that he will be there. I think that he's played so well. He provides that cover at 9 for Robson and Watson. He's a guy that I think that, if we do go on and lose game 1 and, maybe Robson doesn't have the best game, you'd throw him straight in. I love Wade Egan. I think that he deserves to be there. Yes, obviously, there's a big chance he won't be there as well, which, I'm sort of shitting myself more and more as the days go on. But I've made the bet. It is on the podcast. It is on the public record. If Wade Egan does not make the extended squad, I'll be dyeing my hair jet black. 21. Let's move on quickly. 21 man would be Jake Trbojevic. I just want to bring him into camp, have him in there with a presence. He wasn't in there previously. But I think that just that presence as a leader there in camp, not with the intention to play him unless there was injury, but I just think that he just has such a great presence. He's a captain, he's a leader in this side, and I'd love to have him around the boys just as a morale dude. So Jake Trbojevic would be jersey 21 for me. So the bench is Watson, Angus Crichton, Lenu, and Barnett. My extended 21-man squad would be Ryan Papenhuyzen, 18th man. I'd bring into camp Isaiah Katoa, Wade Egan, and Jake Trbojevic. Let's move on to Queensland. That took us 30 good old minutes. Let's see if we can smash this one out a little bit quicker. For the Queensland Maroons, in regards to our predicted side for game number 1 of 2025, again, the fullback jersey's been a big one that's been under speculation over the past few weeks. Obviously, with KP and Walsh, moustache very itchy at the moment. Ponga and Walsh not being in the best of form. Walsh has obviously gone down with injury as well. I do think that Ponga has to be there because if he's available, you pick him. He'll turn up for Origin against a much stronger pack than he has at Clubland at the moment, with better halves that he has at Clubland at the moment. He will go a lot better. There won't be an over-reliance on him in this game as well. I think that it will be all the better for Ponga coming into this Origin camp. So Ponga for me at 1. I will go with, for my wings, let's go with... I'm going to go with Xavier Coates on the left side. And I'm still thinking about this right side, hence the little pause there. Still thinking about the right side because, again, just listening to different opinions, having time to reflect. Not 100% sold. I'm going to go with Selwyn Cobbo because I just think Selwyn Cobbo, for me, he can just break the game open in so many ways. Yes, Murray Taulagi can do the same, but it allows Xavier Coates to play his natural side on the left side. Yes, him and Val have a combo from last year on the right. But I just want Coates on that left-hand side, having a little bit of a leaping advantage there. You know, if you're thinking about this from a Queensland mindset going into this one, you have Coates v Lomax. I think those two will go at each other a lot better. Lomax will put up a lot more of a fight at being the bigger body there, especially aerially. And then it's also his natural side, so he'll feel more comfortable on that side altogether. So Coates on the left, Cobbo on the right. My centres for the Maroons would be Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow left, Val Holmes right side. So my back 5 would be Ponga, Coates, Hammer, Holmes, Cobbo. Holmes and Cobbo would be a sick combo. I think that those guys could set up a lot of tries. There might be a few errors between them, which is, again, sort of a thing I worry about with Cobbo on that right-hand side. But I do think that those two could strike up a really good combo. There was honestly serious thoughts about me putting Murray Taulagi there or even Dane Gagai just defensively to shore up that right side too. But as I said, at the moment, in regards to an attacking perspective, I've gone with Holmes at right centre, Cobbo right wing, and then Hammer left side with Coates. I think that that would be a great combo as well. Halves. I think that this one, for me, more so the 6. At the start of the year, I thought it was going to be the hardest spot to pick. It's actually pretty easy for me now. I think that Munster's been in great form for the Storm. I think DCE, he's that dude at 7 until he's not that dude. Until he says that he's not that dude. DCE, for me, is the 7 of this side. So DCE 7 with Munster at 6. I love the footy that Munster's played this year so far. He's been extremely dangerous. His ball playing, his, just ability to break the game open. They missed it last year. Coming back in, he will prove to a lot of people, I should say, that he's the dude for the number 6 until he says he's not the dude as well. I think that those guys will have a huge game together and combine very well. And Munster can just break the game open at any given point. So you got to have him in there. Where does that leave Tom Dearden? I'll tell you in a second. But yeah, Munster and DCE, they're my halves. In regards to the front row, I am going to go with Cotter and Carrigan in my front row. Cotter, just the leg speed that he'd provide, quick play the balls, the ball playing ability that he has. The front rowers, I think, will be passing to each other quite a bit, running in twos and getting short passes, manipulating defences. I think that will be a big part of Queensland's game. I don't think they're going to be trying too much. They're going to be extremely physical, but I think if it gets to a point where New South Wales are ahead physically. I feel like that they are going to really focus on their ball playing and try and really just manipulate defenses, especially tied forwards, just with a really good, crisp ball playing game through the middle. So Cotter, Carrigan, front row, Tino lock. Tino is at lock for me purely because of the offloading ability and his ball playing as well. I think, to be honest, is probably the crispest out of the lot. I think that Carrigan and Tino are very close, but I've just watching Tino over the past few years and his development, especially at the Titans. I don't think we've seen the best of Tino's ball playing yet. I think that we will see a little bit of a taste of it here for Queensland in this series. My 9 for Queensland. I was under the assumption that Harry Grant wouldn't be back this week. He was named for the Storm. I think that if he shows that he's fit, he will play. I think that they are going to give him every chance to play as well, to be honest. I think that Billy Slater will pick him there initially, and they'll carry someone else in the squad to come in and play 9 if he does end up getting ruled out and needs an extra game to obviously come back into this Queensland side. But at the moment, Harry Grant's my 9. I'm going with, for my edges, somewhat controversial to some. For me, not so much. Left side, Firma. Right side, Sewer. Firma's been probably the best back rower that is eligible for Queensland this season form-wise, and yet everyone else is going in different directions. For me, it has to be Beau Firma. I love the footy that he's played this year. Yes, he can make some pretty strange calls defensively, but his attack and what they can do on that left side, especially the hints of that left side attack that we got for Queensland last year when there was injuries there, what Hammer was doing, having a back rower in Firma is almost like having an extra centre there and another point of attack. Sewer was really good in those spread sets on the left in game 1 last year for Queensland, but I just have a feeling that Beau Firma will be a better option there. He's a really good runner. As I said, it's like having a second centre there. It's going to be really good for their left side attack. Right side for me, Jaden Sewer. While he's been alternating left and right all year, he's been predominantly the right side, especially over the past 5 or 6 weeks, and he's been killing it too. He's been in great form. He's been a real silent achiever there at the Dragons. I just love Sewer. I love what he's about. I think he was unfairly dropped after game 1, and I'd be picking him for sure there at right edge back row. So my forward pack is Cotter, Carrigan, Tino in the middle, Grant 9, Sewer right, Firma left. Getting stuck into the bench here for Queensland, I am going to go with, at 14, I'm going to go Dearden. Dearden there at 14. Love what he's about. He can come on in a number of different roles as well. I think that you've got to give him the opportunity to cover at 9. I think that he could do it as well. I'm not, doubting him at all. I know that he hasn't played 9 for Clubland, and obviously it was a concern for me and the big reason I didn't have him at 14. But I think that Queensland can, afford to have, especially with the big minute forwards that they've got, Carrigan, Tino, Cotter, a few other guys that I've named here on the bench. They can afford to have a jersey 17 like they did last year, like a Selwyn Cobbo or someone like along those lines. I've gone down a different path, but Dearden for me at 14. He can come on in a number of roles. The guy I've got in jersey 17 can cover 9, so he can literally just come on through the middle in that, Cooper Cronk and Michael Morgan and, DCE fashion off the bench and just go absolutely nuts and just create as much attack as they can. So Dearden 14 for me. Jersey 15 is Corey Horsburgh. Again, another guy that can play big minutes. I think that he'll get 2 20-minute stints just going bananas. I think that Gilbert will be the same. Tom Gilbert's there at jersey 16. Can cover edge and middle. He'll just go skits as well for 2 20-odd-minute stints. And then for me, jersey 17, a guy that can cover 9, a guy that can cover pretty much any position on the field, and it's basically like Queensland's Connor Watson, just a little bit less mobile, is Kurt Mann in jersey 17. As I said, he can cover a ton of positions, Really good with the football in hand. Can be a real good link man for them. Just a bit of a smaller body. He would come on, and I think Cotter would go to an edge. One of Firma or Sewer wouldn't play the full 80 for me. But yeah, Kurtman can just come on and just be tough and physical. I honestly am not shy to the thought process of starting Man either at 13. But I just, for the sake of maintaining a bit of size in the pack here for Queensland, I'm going Kurtman off the bench. And as I said, the unpredictability of where he comes into a game for Queensland off the bench is a big reason as to why I'm picking him there as well. So my bench for Queensland is Tom Dearden, Corey Horsburgh, Tommy Gilbert, and Kurt Mann. Now, my 21-man squad, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Jersey 18, the man I'm bringing into camp is Jamal Fogarty. Now, I tossed and turned around this one for a little bit. I wasn't 100% confident. There's guys like Jai Gray that deserve to be in and around the conversation, and guys that are the future there. Jack Howarth, these sort of guys that you could bring into camp as well. Max Plath, they're all not in my squad. Max Plath more so due to injury. But I think that Jamal Fogarty, bringing an experienced head, if one of the halves were to go down, he could go in. If a Harry Grant was to go down, he could, do a job at 9, a serviceable job at 9, or you'd maybe put him onto the bench and you'd have Kurt Mann go and start the game at 9. You'd have Fogarty coming off the bench and just going nuts or playing a bit of lock or something like that. He could do that well. He's a big enough body to do that. But more so just good coverage for the halves. If one of the halves was to go down, particularly if DCA was to pull out, I think that Fogarty could go straight into 7 and do a really good job for them, particularly with the form that he's been in for Canberra of late as well. So Jamal Fogarty's my 18th man. Definitely a wild take considering his age, but I think that he'd do a serviceable job wherever he'd have to come into the side. Jersey number 19, the guy that will train with the squad, but obviously he's allowed to play for Clubland. Mo Fodawaker provides that coverage for the forwards. If one of the forwards were to go down before kickoff, he could go in and fill in a role there as well. He's played plenty of games for Queensland now. He has that experience. He's an older head. I think he'd do a really good job. Jersey 20, and this is for the coverage for Harry Grant. He's a guy that I had starting before as well. Reid Marnie obviously had Jai Gray in Jersey 20 previously. I took him out, moved Reid Marnie to 20, and then put Harry Grant back in. Obviously, following the fact that he's been named in the reserves for Melbourne this week, as I said, I think they'll give Harry Grant every chance to play. But if he does have to pull out, Reid Marnie goes in. He does a great job at 9. He has been, outside of Harry Grant, probably the former Queensland 9 going into these origin discussions as well. So, Reid Marnie for me, Jersey 20, it makes a lot of sense. And then Jersey 21 and probably one of Billy Slater's favourite men and a real smoky for the 17. I've got Trent Liero. I think that he is a real smoky for the 17 to come in off the bench. Was the 18th man in Game 3 last year. Has been, for the most part, in good form. Over the past few weeks, he's had very up and down performances, but for the most part of the year, he has been serviceable. He's been in good form. As I said, loved by Billy Slater, mentored by Billy Slater down at Melbourne. Under a close eye, at least, by Billy Slater there at Melbourne. I think that Trent Liero will be given every chance to for this week at least to really make a case for himself to make the 17 for Queensland. So my 18, 19, 20, 21, Jamal Fogarty, 18th man, 19, 20, 21 is Mo Fodawaker, Reid Marnie, Trent Liero. There you go, legends. Those are my origin sides official. As I said, not sure as to the day this will come out. I'll make that decision when I upload it. So you'll know before me, but that is my Queensland and New South Wales sides for Game 1. Obviously, the sides for New South Wales at least will come out on Sunday. Queensland most likely Monday morning. So make sure you stay tuned for those as well. We'll do a reaction on the podcast. Maybe on the YouTube as well to get a bit more content out on the YouTube. But make sure if you enjoyed that to subscribe to the YouTube, become a part of the Big LEZ'S League community. And we will see you guys in the next one.